What's going on, everybody? This is Warren Dews with Capital Region Independent Media. We do this thing called Get to Know. Actually, community conversations is a thing that we do in all our newspapers, and under that umbrella is a thing called Get to Know. And we speak to people, either advertisers or people in the community, to get to know who they are. And advertisers buy advertisement for Get to Know. And I have a friend here that decided to use his dollars to support and promote people that sell his wares.
That's right.
So who are you?
My name is Jesse Sommer, and I am one of the esteemed owners of New Scotland Spirits, which is a whiskey, but now also a vodka and gin company based in Albany County.
So why did you decide to do this? I mean, this is you're spending the money on this, and we've been going around to people that sell your product.
Yeah, well, the first thing is when it comes to promoting a product, where you spend the money matters, not just for the utility of your business, but also it shows where you are supporting your own community. Because, for example, I could dump dollars into the Meta platform, Facebook and Instagram, but that's taking it out of the community that's supporting me. So I happen to have a background in local journalism. When we encountered you folks, I wanted to speak to my community through an enterprise that was based in the community, which is to say Capital Region Independent Media and a lot of the different publications that derive therefrom. And if I was going to be using local media to support our brand and the community, I wanted to specifically support those retailers outside of our home county, Albany County, who are doing so much on our behalf to make sure that we're as well known here as we are in my digs. And that's why it's cool to be back in the the master's lair at Fairview Wines and Spirits, which is one of our esteemed retailers on the other side of the river.
So I want to introduce my new friend here. What's your name?
Zachary.
And what do you do here, Zach?
So I'm the acting manager of Fairview Wines. I've been here on and off for about a decade, about 10 years or so. Learned quite a bit in that amount of time, and it's been amazing to see New York State develop as a true bastion of distillation in the United States, seeing that become resurgent over the years. I think for me, having entered into the industry about a decade ago, this was right around the time that we were seeing a lot of upstart distilleries doing kind of new and exciting things. It's been amazing for the local economy, and it struck such a chord with people in the local community who are very proud to see such craftsmanship and quality in the whiskeys that are being produced here. So it's been an amazing journey for us here. And we're so happy to carry your products and to curate in this direction.
Well, right off the bat, let me reach over to you, Warren, so I can shake your hand.
Yeah.
We have a few different partners, fellow owners, etc. So this is actually the first time that I've gotten to meet you, and I just want to say that it means a lot that you guys have very clearly been pushing the brand. I just made another delivery. That was the benefit of doing this in your office back here, is that it gave me occasion to restock you, and I'm just so thrilled that this close to Hudson, you guys are giving us a presence here.
I'm more than happy to. Absolutely, it's our pleasure. And it's exciting for us too. It's kind of, it seems to be in this resurgent exploratory phase, and it's so cool to see all these different permutations of style manifesting, and you guys really have this beautiful kind of rustic purity in your profile.
Thank you.
So distinctive.
Awesome.
And, the more of it the better as far as we're concerned.
I don't even want to talk. I want you to continue talking. I mean, you say can you say my words for me?
Oh.
Well, one of the words that you did say that I can repeat is local. And you're local, and we're local, and I think that's really key that we focus on that we're local businesses coming together to build our businesses. As a local new media company, we can't do our job without people like you, and you can't really sell your wares and be successful without people and companies like him.
Oh yeah, and I also want to point out, at this scale, the interesting thing about a local business is that the path to success, to borrow the cliche, does really take a village. I'm not going to be able to move beyond my borders unless I can show that in that home community there are people that want to support me. So the viewers at home might note that I'm wearing the attire that helps me pay the mortgage, which I hope to someday never have to wear again. And if I am able to show up here in just a sweatshirt down the line, it'll be because of your amazing efforts in making sure that my products sell. And that makes a local business a little bit more special than, you know, the big distilleries, all of which are funneling the same spirit into 50 different brands. You don't realize that the juice is coming from, you know, say the big four, the big five. You know, I like to say that what we have is an authentic product, but no one's going to know that unless we have our, you know, army of people who are going to sing our praises when they come into, in this case, Fairview, and they say, hey, what do you recommend? And, you know, trust me, I know that you like the labels and I appreciate the kind words about the bottles. I'm not an idiot. I know that it's you folks who are pointing people over to the shelf and, you know, giving them those recommendations at the point of sale.
So how long has Fairview been around?
About 30 years or so, I would say, approximately. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't have an exact date on that, unfortunately. I haven't been here that long. But yeah, I'd say about 30 years. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the longest established, currently operating wine and spirits emporium in Hudson, New York. It's also the largest by far.
And in this location, do you know? Or
In this particular location.
Okay,
It's
really?
always been right here, I believe. Originally, the shop was about a quarter the size of its current capacity, and it was gradually expanded. There may have been another business operating next door that was gradually kind of folded in to the retail space. So now it's, you know, about quadruple the size it originally was. And after the change in ownership about 7 years ago, we took it upon ourselves to expand the selection of inventory to the greatest extent possible. So we've about, I think, tripled the number of SKUs currently on hand. And that's dovetailed wonderfully with this profusion of local products that we're now seeing in the fold as well. So it's just all come together really nicely.
and you can't see it, but you know, hopefully through the B-roll we'll show it. But y'all, this place is stocked full of stuff. I mean,
For sure, yeah.
I walked in. I had to go to the bathroom. I walked in the back, and thank goodness I lost weight because I would got stuck.
It's pretty wild back there.
It's
Yeah.
packed, man. I mean, you have a lot of product here. Now I was talking to you earlier, and we were talking about your whiskey and stuff like that. You sounded surprised, but you said one of your things is selling really, really better than everything else. What is that?
Yeah, well, you know, we're going to find out because this is essentially the first full year that we've had it out there. But this is our Helderberg vodka, and
It's a great label.
thank you.
First of all,
I certainly appreciate it.
Hold
I
on,
mean,
why'd you say that? Why is it a great label? Tell us.
It's just beautiful. I mean,
Okay.
it's, you know, it looks like the cover of a great novel or something. It's really thoughtful. It's artful. Like, I love that there's a sort of poetic element to the way that the visuals are comprised. Like, I mean, not to interrupt you, but it's
Well, let me just
it's
point
such a
out
long way.
there's an element of strategy to it because, as you know, on our social media, we are aggressive. We do what social media does, or I should say rewards best, which is be incendiary. But in fact, like, the label is where we have an opportunity to demonstrate that, in fact, you know, we're good kids from down the road. This is a celebration of different facets of our hometown. So, for example, and I'll answer your question in a second, but you know, you've got the Helderberg vodka that celebrates the Helderberg Lake, around which there are so many rumors and stories of old and ancient illicit affairs, all of which is discussed on the label.
Sure.
Or you have, for example, the Helderberg Rye Whiskey, which shows just a snapshot of Thatcher Park, the Helderberg Escarpment in fall. And the thing that we were not expecting is that during the summer months, people love their freaking vodka.
Really? Okay.
Oh my God, this obliterated sales of our whiskeys. And you have to understand, Warren, like, the thing about this didn't age. This came off the still, proof down, went into a bottle. There's not much art to it. I mean, the thing that differentiates our vodka from other vodkas is that, for example, like Tito's, 6 times distilled, 100% corn, but this is thrice chill filtered with Herkimer diamonds, what's known as, you know, Herkimer diamonds are basically quartz.
Okay.
And so it's a really pure, really crisp, really smooth taste. But that's just science. The art is, for example, in like the Helderberg Winter Wheat Whiskey, this aged for 7 years.
That's great.
7 years. Like, I was still in the Army when we started this. And so when this was aging, we were deciding, for example, what barrel do we use? You know, and how long are we going to age it? There was a lot of different components that went into the decision as to the grain bill. Like, you have a way of influencing the flavor of your spirit in multiple different steps in the production process. So this is like an art. It has a lot of my own signature on it.
That's amazing.
This is vodka, player. I mean, comes off the still, goes in the bottle, and while I'm certainly proud of it, this is one of those things where we kind of we threw money at the problem, right? Like, we basically said we want to be able to beat Tito's in any head-to-head matchup. And what's going to be interesting is in the cooler months, and certainly in the bitter cold of, let's say, January and February, are people drinking, a vodka with a couple cubes and a lemon twist, or are they sitting around a campfire or their wood stove inside with a single neat of our Helderberg bourbon, just letting kind of the heat of the alcohol warm them a little bit. So that's going to be a big question. Does the vodka continue to outperform the whiskeys in which I have so much more pride, to be honest? Remains to be seen.
So as a person that shops different places, I love going to places where I can get knowledge. I live in the Berkshires, and we own papers all over the place. There's a place called Car Hardware. They're like it's like a Home Depot, but I go to Car because I know I'm going to get answers. I know somebody's going to be there that knows what the heck they're talking about.
Sure.
You definitely seem like someone that if I could come in here and ask the question about something, you're deeply knowledgeable about
I would,
this.
to the best of my ability, I would try to, for sure.
So, but why do you think that's important to have someone, your stuff in a place where someone as knowledgeable as he is?
Here's the two main reasons. The first is that he knows more than I do, because I know my stuff. As you can see in Zach's private office back here, there's a whole slew of whiskeys that actually help inform a palate that enable you to presumably speak intimately and with some sense of real information about the differences. That's number one. But I think the most obvious point is very few people are going to come to this new untested brand organically unless you've got someone at the store who says, "Hey, I want to show you something." One of the things, and I've never quite understood, and I don't even know if you're able to explain this to me, but
Sure.
I've never understood exactly what the benefit is to taking on a new product. Because if someone's coming to buy alcohol, they walk into Fairview, they're not looking for a cheeseburger, they're buying alcohol. So I've always wondered, why do you take a risk on a new brand, since I'm kind of just cannibalizing some other sale?
Sure. Well, we tend to think of it in such a way that we're, first and foremost, in terms of products such as yours, that we're supporting the local economy. We love to support distilleries that are operating, within several miles of our operation.
Yeah.
It just feels good, frankly. At the end of the day, that might not be the most valid business premise necessarily, but for us to go out of our way to promote a local product which we feel to be of the utmost quality and to offer something distinctive and unique, it works as a tactic in marketing, certainly.
Yeah, sure.
That quality of distinction, that relationship that's formed, I think, upon introducing someone to something novel and unique that's of superior quality, it's memorable. It's something that people can really feel, I think, as a sort of sense of appreciation. We're not just doing this purely for profit. We're doing it because we truly believe in the quality and the beauty of these products that we sell, and we think that it can enrich people's lives. I've always felt ultimately that at their apex, at their apogees, both wine and spirits can present as a form of art on a sensory level. And I think that we tend to think of music and visual art as the only two forms of sort of sensory input that can achieve that. But I feel as though wine and spirits can really achieve that as well in their own right. And it feels good. It feels spiritually gratifying, I think, for us to introduce people to products that are made so carefully with such love and passion and enthusiasm. So at the end of the day, it just feels good for us, I think, to do that ultimately, and our customers appreciate it. So
I'll add to that because I remember being in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and I think everything's connected. There was a store that closed down, a factory that closed down, and when the factory closed down, guess what happened 2 months later? The pizza shop closed down.
Yeah, of course.
The Chinese restaurant closed down.
Yep.
Everything's connected.
Yep.
Those people that were going to that factory were shopping at the pizza shop, shopping at the other place. So I believe if you support local media, local businesses, it helps the whole community. if we continue to buy stuff from somebody across the country, it's not going to really support local, which is still good. You have to do those things, but and your stuff tastes good. So we're not doing you a favor. Your stuff is good.
Well, I just here. This is an interesting point, and forgive me, because in this anecdote, I'm going to have to use the F word to be true to history. So the whole point about quality, why our whiskey is aged, for example, 5 to 7 years, why our vodka is 6 times distilled and then 3 times chill filtered. There are tons of distilleries in New York. In fact, there are more distilleries per capita, per person, than there are in any other state, and we're second only to California in raw number. And that isn't always the greatest thing, because in fact, one of the challenges is there's a possibility that for people who enter into the sector but who don't know what they're doing, they can degrade the concept of a New York whiskey, of a New York spirit. And to that end, when I was home on leave in 2018, the supervisor of my town of New Scotland, from which we derived the name New Scotland Spirits, calls me up, and I see it's the town supervisor, and I answer. I was like, Mr. Supervisor, how are you? He says, hey Jesse, your father tells me that you're putting the name of our town on your whiskey. And I said, yeah, that's right, and it should be out in a few years. And he's like, yeah. So it's going to say New Scotland on it. I said, yeah, isn't that great? He goes, well, you better not f this up. and the thing is, I have fortunately, Doug LaGrange, supervisor, has given his official imprimatur of approval on our products. But it is really important when you're representing a local area, that what you put out is going to represent it in a way that makes people proud. That for people that never come to the town of New Scotland, but who only experience us, here at the shelves of Fairview, that in their mind they're like, okay, this New Scotland must be something special. The Hilton Barn on our Helderberg bourbon, this is something I might want to visit and check out.
Exactly.
Like, I might want to go up to Thatcher Park in the Helderberg Escarpment, or I might want to see the first schoolhouse in the town. There's a story that it's not just that we're telling, but it's a story that we're borrowing, and that's an important thing that I have to keep in mind, that any product I put out has to raise the esteem of the brand that I'm utilizing, which is the jurisdiction in which all of my fellow New Scots live.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really key. I tell my kids all the time. I ask them, what's your name? And who's watching you? And your name means everything to you. Your brand means everything to you. Your brand and name will get you through doors. Yep. So that's amazing. I'm glad he told you that.
Yeah.
And it's a great product. So ending this real soon. What I wanted to talk to you about, make sure you understand and everyone else understands, is that we do these things, this get to know and this community conversations, and it's something that advertisers pay for. When he came to me with the idea and said, Warren, I want to pay for this, but I want to promote the businesses that are selling my wares, I was like, boom, it's just amazing. So
we're so incredibly thankful.
I want to
thank you.
Appreciate it so much.
I wouldn't be able to afford this guy if it weren't for you, man. So I really appreciate it. And even like the experience never gets old of walking into a liquor store and seeing my hooch on a shelf.
Oh, we're happy to have him, man.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
Awesome. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, for paying attention to what we're doing here. Capital Region Independent Media. We're in Hudson, where we own the Columbia paper. And we have the Hudson Guide that just came out recently. You can go see that. But I just want you to know, this is something we do across all of our newspapers, all of our media. And if you're interested in being a part of Get to Know the Community Conversations, give us a call. All the information will be on the video. I want to thank you again, sir.
Absolutely.
For
Thanks
everything
again.
you do.
Always one.
All right. And I appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much for stopping in.
And I need to say, I can listen to you for about an hour.
Oh, so that means a lot, man. Well, that's my job, so.
We're going to talk to this guy again. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody.